Hello everyone. Today the question that I will be talking about is, when should I become retractable? At what age? I've talked about this before, but I always get a lot of comments on my various videos and things asking this, and people are constantly obsessed and worrying and things like that about when a foreskin becomes retractable. So first of all, it's different for every guy. You know, some guys are retractable much younger, some are much older, some, it might not happen on its own and they need to do a little bit of stretching or something like that to kind of help it. Again, I always tell people, to help it along, this is when you're an adult. If it's causing pain or discomfort, maybe you might need to do a little foreskin stretching to kind of help the opening or whatever, help it become a little bit looser, if you will. But this is only if it's causing pain or discomfort. Otherwise, there's no need to kind of hurry things along. In reality, it's not strictly necessary that the foreskin be retractable. You can have sex and all of the things that you use your penis for. The retraction is not absolutely necessary to be able to do these things and for it to be enjoyable. Sometimes the foreskin just has a slightly tighter opening, than other guys. Sometimes that happens. Now, this is for guys that are like over 18 who are still not retractable, things like that. Up until the age of 18, your body is still growing and developing, and it happens at various times for everyone. Some guys or boys are on the younger side of things, and it happens earlier. Becoming retractable at 6, 7, 8, it happens, but that's on the early side. The average is more around puberty. So 11, 12, somewhere in there, that's when it would happen. And we don't see that a lot in the United States because so many guys are circumcised that the number of us who are intact or uncut are smaller, even though that number is growing. It's still a smaller number, and so people don't kind of, and even people that are left with their foreskins, sometimes they or their parents had the wrong idea and thought they had to force it back, and this disrupts the natural process, a physiological process of as they grew and develop, and so they don't know at what age they would have retracted if left on its own, as it should have been. But 11 or 12 is that average age. Some people are younger, like I said, and some are much older. All the way up until the age of 18 is 100% normal, and there's no need to be worrying about it. So, if people are like, oh, I'm 15 years old and I haven't retracted yet, that's okay. Myself, I was almost 16 before I retracted for the first time. It happens different for every guy, and that's normal, and it's not a problem. And I'm going to reiterate, even though it should be clear by now, that circumcision is never necessary. Not being able to retract does not mean you need to be circumcised. Anyone that says this to you is lying or very misinformed. There is no need for that. There is always another way. Like I mentioned, stretching or things like that. These are things that should be tried first if it is really becoming a problem, causing pain or whatnot. However, most people don't know about this, and if a medical professional says, oh, you should be circumcised, so many people just do. I mean, I don't know why you would even listen to someone giving you such idiotic advice. Because that's what it is, idiotic advice. There is no need for circumcision. So, when are you going to retract, or when will you retract, or when did you retract? It's different for every person. And there's no need to try to be hurrying it up. You can have sex even if it's not retracting. You can masturbate even if it's not retracting. There is still movement and flexibility in that foreskin even if you can't fully retract it. And it also makes sense because the foreskin becomes a little bit more loose, and everything as that it becomes, it's a normal thought, a normal idea that that you might be able to retract when you are flaccid or soft, but not be able to when you are hard. That's also a normal process that makes sense because the penis is smaller when it's not hard, right? So it makes sense that when it's smaller, it'd be easier to retract the foreskin. But again, like I've said over and over again, there is no need to worry about it. It is completely normal to not be able to retract, especially during those teenage years. And so it's one of those things that we need to keep saying this when people keep pushing retraction, it doesn't absolutely need to retract. You don't need to retract to be able to ejaculate. You don't need to be able to retract to pee. It's not something that's absolutely necessary. Think of it this way. Your first, anywhere from 0 to 18 years, there's a good chance that for a good part of that your foreskin is not retractable. So you will have been peeing for years through the end of your foreskin. There's no reason to suddenly think, oh, I need to retract to pee. No, all these ideas of you need to retract to do this or you need to retract to do that, these are being imposed upon everyone by this cutting culture who seems to think that seeing the head of the penis and the head of the penis being exposed all the time or for various activities, this is pushed by this cutting culture because in a circumcised penis, the head is always exposed. And this is what people have unfortunately come to think of as normal. So the idea of the foreskin covering the penis while you pee or while you ejaculate, they can't fathom that. But that is completely normal. And the foreskin, is supposed to be there. This is what I'm constantly saying when people ask these questions about this. It's like, okay, don't forget, the penis is supposed to have the foreskin. This is how it's supposed to be. Those of you who are watching this and me who have our foreskin, our penis is functioning as it was designed. There's no need to try to imitate or mimic a guy who's circumcised in order to make it work right. No, it works right with the foreskin. So, don't let people try to tell you, oh, you need to be able to retract by a certain age, or oh, you need to be able to retract to pee or anything else. This is not true. There is nothing requiring you to retract to do any of these activities. People that try to insist on it being cleaner or whatever it is, again, these are lies that people spread to try to promote and push circumcision. And you got to stand up and speak out against these lies and misinformation. So I hope this will get anybody listening who's not retractable, don't worry about it. You are fine. Your penis is fine. Not being able to retract is not an excuse for circumcision. So don't let anyone try to tell you that you need to be circumcised. That is 100% false. I can tell you that with absolute certainty. So I hope everyone has a great day. And remember, the foreskin is awesome.